My relationship with art, it's how I enjoy life. And working with recycled materials is an important part. I have been exploring the roads of South Jersey, I guess, ever since I could drive. I meet such interesting people and who are filling their yards and relating to the world and communicating with the world through art. I've been stopping and talking to people. Collaborating with Perkins brings some of these artists out into the community in a new way.
I'm calling to follow up and schedule a time to sit down with you and do that interview that we talked about. I am the coordinator for the Folklife program at Perkins Center for the Arts. Found arts and found artists has this double meaning. These are artists that were found, you know, through field trips, through excursions through South Jersey, whatever. And these artists are using found materials and objects and recreating them. Sally and I have been making visits to the various artists and sitting down with them to do recorded interviews.
I'm going to do a Yui here.
Sally and I will be splitting up and exploring just a few of the found artists of southern New Jersey.
There was a woman who, a few years back, who used to park on the street. One day she came to the fence and said, "Stopping here every day is the only place that I can find peace." You work intuitively and you do these things for yourself, but when they can actually touch someone else is really powerful. I think what compels me to do what I do is pretty much what has worked throughout my life, and that is challenges. I've always really enjoyed a challenge.
I always see themes running through your work of spirituality, dogs.
Dogs and Buddhism, yeah.
And dogs and Buddhism and music.
And music,
Yeah,
absolutely.
yeah.
Hundertwasser speaks of window rights, that
Yes.
everyone should be able to paint, reach out the window and paint around their windows. So that was my inspiration from Hundertwasser.
We talked a little bit about Hundertwasser.
Mm-hmm. I think that we also have to include Isaiah Zagar.
Good point.
Because I did some mosaics before him, but since I worked with Isaiah, it just hasn't stopped. Mm-hmm. As far as South Jersey, I think that South Jersey definitely, when we moved here from San Francisco, I mean, we wanted to, you know, have a place, Lindenwold especially, because it's a blue-collar town, there's no such thing as having problems with what you're doing on your property.
There's no set way to do recycle art.
Right,
you know,
right.
Everything you do is invented to do it.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
You know.
And the whimsy of it, of not even knowing why you're holding off on something, and then like a month later you bump into the exact material that is the perfect thing for it, and then you say, "Oh, that's why I waited to do this."
Palace of Depression is a really interesting site, unique in its way, built by George Daner out of junk cars and clay.
You read about him falling asleep in a truck body and an angel coming to him and appearing in a dream and giving him the vision to build a palace. As long as he put 18 to 20 spires on the top, which were for the angels to rest whenever they came to earth.
Traveling round, feeling blue, don't know what the world I'm going to do. Roaming round.
I realized he did this during the Depression era. His goal was to make a house to live in, and because it was so unique, he would charge people to come see it. This is a historic rebuilding, okay? We started from scratch all over. He basically did it the same way we're doing it. The only difference is where we're using mortar, he just used clay, okay? And then the son baked it because he mixed it with motor oils out of the junkyard. And you can see that by the ticket booth.
Sure, that's still standing.
I like to say we're putting it back up to show kids that once upon a time there was such a thing as once upon a time. I played in this for about 2 years before we all stood over there in '69 watched them tear it down. I studied at Pennsylvania Academy of Fine Arts, Fleischer Art Memorial, Summit Hutchins, and everything that I learned came from also being inspired by hanging out here and knowing about this place, learning about what the guy did. Area artists would come out here, Pat Witt, Charles Haddock, to bring people through here for tours. All this kind of glass and brick lodge and crock lodge, Dana started in 1932. Here's where violence set the precedent for something else.
Every time they tear a building down, as the building inspector, I was around and I said, can you dump this stuff off to us? And they were glad to. My kids are 35 and 36 now. They don't have a concept of what it was like to live during the Depression in these days, and how a man could live with their own hands and with a little ingenuity.
Yeah, right.
You know?
Yeah.
I get to come back to my hometown and be part of and help create the very thing that inspired me to go up and continue studying the arts and everything like that. For me, it's just one of the most unique structures in one way on the planet as far as I'm concerned. I put it right next to the Taj Mahal and wouldn't tarnish either.
I've been more kind of like an artist at heart. I started with auto parts because that's where I grew up. My father was an auto mechanic. I used to hang out in the shop, and the first one I made was mainly to hang air hoses on. I'm usually working around a pile of junk, you know, that I can look at and pick what I need. I spend a lot of time just taking stuff apart. I never really use anything that's really store-bought, but I like to use it more old and antique stuff where it kind of gives a story of how things have changed and evolved from, you know, the way it used to be a long time ago. It's really like my passion. I really get involved into it. This particular one here, I made out of a lot of typewriter parts in an adding machine, as you can see by the numbers. I call this one reaching up. It's like you're reaching up higher, you know, and the hair is made out of wires. The head is made out of mainly a collection of nuts and bolts and stuff. I'm more kind of like a nature person,
Right.
you know, and living in the Pinelands it's a lot of nature. You know, I grew up out here, and maybe that's why I like the flowers and the birds. When they strip the cars apart, it's like sometimes that's where I find a lot of interesting pieces. But like I said, I really don't use anything that I bought from the store that were brand new. Right. It's like each piece has a story. It's you know, I mean, even the automotive parts. How many thousands of miles were on that part?
Absolutely.
You know, each one tells a story in some way.
First sculpture that I made was just a plain muffler man for my school project. So it was just a body that was a muffler and a head that was a muffler and just pipes for arms, and that was probably 10th grade.
First you worked with automobile parts, and then you started working with bicycles.
Yeah, anything that's maybe found in the trash. Anything that's metal, I'll take out of the trash, because if I can't use it, then I can always just take it to the junkyard.
Being from Egg Harbors and South Jersey, do you feel like that kind of influences your work, or? I mean, I
guess
see
I don't
it in
really
your work.
think about it too much. Some of this, like the Statue of Liberty, I just wanted to do some Americana type thing that I could, you know, that's not like, you know, of a certain time period, just kind of timeless. And then I guess the Jersey Devil was something local, and even like the Rocky sculpture I made, just something local, Americana. Yeah, this one again is fish tank or fish bowl. and I wanted to make everything out of bicycle parts, including the gravel on the bottom is smashed up reflectors. And these are the cables from brakes, and this is what the cable slides in. And this is to change speeds. And this is for the handbrake. And then my sister just noticed this. I made this to be a fish, but she said if you turn it around here, if you look at it that way, it kind of looks like a turtle. And that would be its.
It does.
So,
it does.
Yeah.
I finally understand why they call that a man's six-pack.
Yeah.
I never understood it before.
Tried to copy that. This is where I did the most pounding, and the rest doesn't have as much detail, but it was just a sheet of metal, and I found different like shapes, and then just pounded the metal into the shape. And when I was done with just this chest piece, I like put it under my shirt and like lifted up my shirt and took a picture. You know, like people do.
That's great. I love it.
It looked pretty funny. Like it looked pretty like Metal Man.
This one lady, she has the prettiest lint.
I love it. The prettiest lint.
And she does.
So in some ways, you know, the lint took you.
Yeah, it did. It really did. Let me just kind of show you some of the things that I use. I was rumbling through some of my magazines I have, and it was a photo of some work that this artist had done with lint, you know. And I said, that is really interesting. I had been saving my lint long before I had seen the article. What am I going to make? You know, for one thing, this is I'm all talking to myself, you know. I said, well, I like doing landscapes. So I said, maybe I could do that. My girlfriend, she was saving lint for days. In the lint that she saved was this nice fleecy off-white piece that reminded me of sheep. So that's how this piece came up.
What do you want people to think when they see your work?
I want them to get enjoyment out of it. You know, really, basically that's pretty much it.
And you call these Lintscapes.
Yeah,
yes.
I call them Lintscapes because most of them are landscapes, you know.
Yes,
so
that's a wonderful name.
The work that I create is generally whatever inspires me. You know, it could be person, you know, like you've seen in, landscapes mostly. I like people, I like nature, I like different things that appeal to me, you know. I just don't like doing just one little particular thing, you know. 'Cause I see beauty in everybody.
Yeah.
Really, you know, because God sees beauty in everybody.
We're doing unnatural things with a very, very dangerous thing. We use this destructive tool to create with. You see chips flying and chunks falling off all over the place, and it's exciting to watch because you get something out of nothing really fast. Voila, wood spirit. I grew up in the sawmill, bucking off logs in the right length for my father to cut up and cutting off knots. And then my wife brought home a gift chainsaw carved bear for a family friend, and I looked at it and a little tuning fork went off in my loins, and I said, hell yeah, I can do that. Most of the time I'm imposing my will on the wood. It's like, okay, you got to be a bear. Okay, you got to be a dolphin. To be an actual artist, I think it's when you're doing what's inside of you and you're making that come out and personify itself in the living world. Whereas the carver end, you're just doing whatever you got to make a buck. My wood comes from tree surgeons. I turn them into art and give them a second lease on life. To be in this area anyway, because we are why this state has the moniker the Garden State. Because we're out here in the middle of nowhere in Agriculture City. I think I've got a little bit more of an earthy attitude towards things. I like having my feet right on the ground, and I'm just the guy doing what I was born into, and I pick up art up like a toy every day, and I have fun with it. It's not this brooding, serious thing where I gotta drown in a gutter in the dregs of humanity and suffer. It's a joy to be a part of what I do.
South Jersey is rich in cultural history. Getting ready to go on another adventure off the beaten path, and so I invite you to go on the road less traveled.